I was just looking forward to my, one lap of qualifying. I was like, hey, let's get out there. 2 cars, obviously, we know qualify on speed. We knew that was the case. And then all of a sudden, we're kind of getting closer to the, whole qualifying time. Like, ooh, can't wait to get out there. Like, I sat in the car. Well, we see oil is pooling on the ground underneath the vehicle. And I think all of us on this show know that oil leaking from a car, bad. Not a good scenario at all. And this is only about, I would say, 2 hours. I mean, this, as we're trying to go roll to tech, we have no floor on the car. This is a floor and everything that's been put together, that's been tweaked for a week, they said, to try to make sure we're as fast as possible. So we ended up in just a complete disaster of not being able to qualify because we couldn't get an oil line on it. And I mean, that right there was a real blow to the week. And, the perfect scenario happened. I believe we called it on this show. A lot of people said Speed Street got it right. Jimmy and Travis made it in on speed. That's exactly what we needed, because those 2 guys were the guys that I would hope, to have us, that I wanted, that I wanted to make the Daytona 500 with, and hopefully they could help us get in there. So I was supposed to make the race. I had to beat both Austin Hill and Travis Pastrana. Yeah, because people were like, oh, no, but Travis is already in. Yes, he was in, but because I did not have any qualifying time, I had to be the highest finishing open car in the duel. And so I had a challenge in front of me. And when I got in, Jimmy Johnson came up to me, which was really cool, trying to give me some advice. But I didn't know what to do with what he was saying to me because I had never done a lap yet. So, I'm like, Jimmy, I appreciate this info. I have no idea what any of it means. And then, obviously, the first moment of, yikes, this is going to be a rough night, happened really as soon as I left the pit lane. Because this car starts bouncing when I left the pit, like the tires were squares. Like the tires were made of rectangles, like I was on the Daytona Supercross track through the whoop section. But when I say I couldn't even use the throttle to accelerate because it was bouncing so hard, and my spinal cord, my spinal column felt the racetrack through my butt cheeks, that's what was happening. And I knew that I had promised both Alex Rossi and James Hinchcliffe, that I would not lift on my first couple of laps in that cup car, because I was like, nope, I'm not lifting. We got to go into this and never lift off the throttle. And when we go green and I try to get through the gears, I mean, the thing is just bouncing. It's just bouncing like crazy. The rear, I thought the rear tires were off the ground, essentially. From, divine intervention, there was a yellow a few laps in, right? Some debris. I think that was the yellow. And I was like, oh, man, we got to make some changes to this thing. We got to get in the pits, and we got to change everything but the color of this car. And as soon as I went back out there, it was much better. But I also realized at that point that, oh no, this car is pretty slow. And I'm just thinking, I don't know why I did this. I was a lot of thoughts. Then a yellow happens, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? And when I come to the crash area of this accident, I see the 2 cars that I need to beat in the grass. And I was like, hang on a second. And I was waiting. Dead yet? Yeah. I was waiting. I saw them in the grass not moving. And so I was like, well, Travis I saw basically just pulling into the pits because his car looked like it was limping. And then I was just kind of waiting to come around the next time. And I was like, oh, please, Lord Jesus, please let that 62 car still not be moving. And we obviously hope everyone's safe, but maybe the right front wheel is broken. I don't know. Who knows? You hate to say that because, again, I would have much rather raced my way in. Of course, any driver wants that. That's why even at the end of that duel, I was not even that overjoyed because we made it, but I was like, that's not the way I want to make it. But it's still, we still made it. So I don't get lucky often. We know that. If you know Conor Daly, you know that luck has not really been in the bio. But I will completely admit to whenever a lucky moment does happen, we will be very thankful for it. And I went up to the 62 crew after the race too, and I said, hey man, Not gonna lie, you guys deserve to be in that race. I hate to see it for you, because I was honest with him. I said, look, I did not deserve to make it with the performance in that race, but you know how these things work. I just want to say, you guys deserve it. I will see you next year, hopefully.
Hey, man, I grew up playing baseball a whole lot, and the old saying always was, it's a screaming liner in the books. And what they mean by that is that you could hit a little bloop, just bloop freak show hit off the end of the bat that just goes over the shortstop's head enough out of his outstretched arms, but it's a base hit. And so when they put it in the books, it didn't say, hey, it was a little bloop flare single off the end of the bat that maybe could have caught that you got lucky for getting a base hit. Now you got a single. It bumps up the average. It bumps up the on-base percentage, right? Screaming liner in the books. So
exactly.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't think 5 years from now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, yeah, he raced the Daytona 500, but it was because you raced the Daytona 500.